Lilith, the forgotten first wife of Adam, stands as a timeless symbol woven deep into the fabric of ancient creation stories. From the very beginning, her name carried whispers of rebellion, independence, and a fierce demand for equality. In a world shaped by patriarchal voices, Lilith's story was cast into shadow, erased from the sacred texts, yet never truly silenced. Today, her legacy invites us to look beyond the familiar tale of Adam and Eve, to explore a truth long hidden, one that challenges us to question, to seek justice, and to embrace the fullness of human experience. Born from the same earth as Adam, breathing the same divine breath, Lilith claimed a place beside him, not as a subordinate, but as an equal. Her refusal to accept a lesser role set her on a path of exile, a journey through darkness and defiance that would echo across the centuries. The story of Lilith is not just a myth. It is a mirror reflecting the eternal struggle for balance between masculine and feminine, freedom and authority, submission and self-determination. Her presence lingers in symbols, the night's owl, the serpent's silent wisdom, reminding us that true understanding often lies hidden in mystery. As we begin this journey into Lilith's forgotten history, we open the door to ancient secrets and profound lessons. We invite you to step beyond the shadows and discover the power of a story that has inspired countless souls to rise, resist, and reclaim their truth. In the ancient echoes of forgotten lore, Lilith emerges not simply as a shadowy figure of myth, but as a profound symbol whose story shifts and deepens through the ages. Born from the same earth as Adam, breathed to life by the same divine breath, she was destined to be more than a mere footnote. Yet, her tale diverges sharply from the gentle narrative of Eve. Lilith stood firm in her insistence on equality, refusing to lie beneath Adam or accept any lesser place. This defiance cast her out of Eden, transforming her from a partner into a pariah, a figure cloaked in darkness and fear. Across centuries, cultures, and traditions, Lilith's image morphed, reflecting not only societal fears of female autonomy, but also a deeper spiritual struggle between submission and freedom. In the earliest known references beyond the canonical texts, Lilith appears as a demon, a night spirit preying on children and vulnerable mothers. The Babylonian Talmud and other mystical writings depict her as a threat, a warning etched into the collective consciousness of communities. Mothers carried amulets inscribed with the names of protective angels, a shield against Lilith's power. This demonization was not merely a story of supernatural menace, but a mirror of patriarchal anxieties, an attempt to control what could not be contained, the fierce, wild independence of the feminine. Yet woven beneath these fearful tales is an undeniable thread of rebellion, a fierce declaration of selfhood that refuses to be subdued. Centuries later, in the medieval text known as the Alphabet of Ben Sira, Lilith's story takes on new dimensions. Here, she is explicitly named as Adam's first wife, created from the earth itself, equal in origin and essence. She asserts her equality, declaring that she will not be beneath Adam because they share the same soil. When Adam demands submission, Lilith chooses flight over subjugation, an act both tragic and heroic. In her departure, she births a lineage of spirits, beings of the night, forever entwining independence with otherness and fear. But it is this very act of refusal, this insistence on autonomy, that transforms Lilith into a figure both feared and revered, a symbol of a woman who would not bow to domination. The evolution of Lilith's myth reveals much about the societies that shaped her. Her transformation from equal partner to demoness reflects the political rewriting of history in service of patriarchal power. The creation of Eve from Adam's rib, signifying dependence and submission, replaces Lilith's narrative with one more palatable to a male-dominated worldview. This rewriting is no mere literary change, but a cultural shift, one that silences the voices of autonomy and reshapes the ideals of womanhood. Through these tales, control over female identity becomes a tool of maintaining social order, defining women within narrow confines of obedience and passivity. Yet, Lilith's demonization carries a paradoxical power. While she is cast as a threat, she also embodies resistance to oppression. In later centuries, particularly throughout the 20th century, feminist thinkers and artists reclaimed Lilith as an emblem of empowerment and rebellion. No longer a figure to be feared, she became a muse for those who sought to challenge gender hierarchies and societal norms. Her narrative resonates with anyone who has felt marginalized or constrained by dominant cultural narratives. Lilith inspires the courage to claim one's voice, to embrace individuality, and to resist the forces that seek to diminish it. Real-world movements have mirrored Lilith's spirit. The waves of feminist activism, from suffrage to modern gender equality campaigns, echo her timeless demand for respect and recognition. The story of Lilith urges a re-evaluation of traditional roles and encourages a more inclusive vision of humanity, one that honors diversity, embraces complexity, and nurtures balance. Her legacy invites all to look beyond fear and stigma, recognizing the transformative power of autonomy and self-respect. Through the lens of Lilith's story, we learn a vital lesson, that narratives, especially those about gender and power, are shaped by those who hold authority. History, theology, and myth can be manipulated to serve prevailing interests, often at the expense of truth and justice. This awareness compels us to question received wisdom, to seek out hidden stories, and to honor those voices that have been suppressed. Lilith's endurance is a testament to the resilience of truth and the necessity of remembering what has been forgotten. As her tale unfolds, it also intertwines with psychological symbolism, representing the shadow self, the unconscious aspects of the human spirit that defy easy categorization. Lilith embodies the parts of ourselves that crave freedom, express anger, and hold wisdom too profound for the daylight of conscious thought. Embracing Lilith means accepting our full humanity, the light and the dark, the gentle and the fierce. Her myth becomes not only a cultural artifact, but a guide for personal transformation, urging us toward wholeness and authenticity. In this way, Lilith's story bridges the ancient and the modern, the mythic and the psychological, the cultural and the deeply personal. Her presence in the shadows is not a mark of shame, but a signpost of strength, a call to rise beyond imposed limitations. As we journey through her history and symbolism, we find in Lilith a powerful narrative of liberation, inviting us all to claim the fullness of our being and to honor the wild, untamed spirit that lies within. This enduring legacy leads us naturally to explore how the political and patriarchal forces have rewritten history, casting Lilith into the margins and reshaping the world's understanding of femininity, power, and creation. In the grand unfolding of history, Lilith's tale stands as a stark testament to the power of narrative and the forces that shape it. Her story was not simply lost to time, but was carefully rewritten and reshaped by the hands of those who wielded authority, those who sought to preserve patriarchal order by silencing voices that challenged it. The transition from Lilith, the equal and independent first wife of Adam, to Eve, the submissive partner fashioned from Adam's rib, was no coincidence, but a deliberate act of political and cultural engineering. This rewriting served to entrench male dominance, reframe gender roles, and define womanhood in terms that upheld the existing hierarchies. Across ancient texts and religious scriptures, we see how the image of woman was recast to fit the needs of power. Lilith's refusal to submit became a threat to the social order, and thus she was demonized and erased from sacred narratives. Meanwhile, Eve's creation story conveyed dependence and obedience, setting a precedent for the role women were expected to play. This rewriting extended beyond theology. It permeated laws, customs, and social norms, shaping civilizations for millennia. The control of history and myth became a tool to control not only women's bodies and roles, but the very ideas that govern society. This political erasure is mirrored in countless other instances where dominant groups have manipulated narratives to maintain control. The exclusion of apocryphal gospels from the New Testament, the suppression of alternative religious teachings, and the marginalization of minority voices all reflect this tendency. Lilith's fate serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of truth in the face of power, urging vigilance and critical inquiry. It challenges us to look beneath the surface of accepted histories and question who benefits from the stories we are told. The implications of this rewriting are profound. By shaping the ideal woman as submissive and secondary, society's perpetuated cycles of inequality and oppression. The demonization of Lilith became a symbol for punishing female rebellion, casting independence as dangerous and deviance. This legacy contributed to widespread attitudes that justified control over women's lives and choices, with consequences that resonate even today. Recognizing this deliberate shaping of history invites us to reclaim lost narratives and honor suppressed truths. It calls us to reflect on the stories that have defined us and to seek a more inclusive and honest understanding of our shared past. Lilith's story, once erased and distorted, emerges as a beacon illuminating the ways power influences culture and identity. As we uncover the layers of political rewriting that silenced her, we open the door to a richer, more balanced view of humanity, one where equality and authenticity can flourish. From here, the journey leads us deeper into the symbolic and psychological dimensions of Lilith's myth, where her figure transcends historical rewriting to embody the shadowed aspects of the human soul. Exploring this terrain, we begin to see how Lilith's enduring power lies not only in her story, but in what she represents within each of us, the dark feminine, the rebellious spirit, and the quest for wholeness. Lilith's story reaches far beyond ancient texts and myths, delving into the very heart of the human psyche, where she stands as a potent symbol of the dark feminine, the shadow side of the soul that often remains hidden from the light of conscious awareness. Carl Jung, the visionary psychologist, interpreted Lilith as an archetype representing the parts of ourselves that resist control, the untamed, rebellious, and raw energies that challenge conformity and demand freedom. She embodies the aspects of femininity that society has long feared: fierce independence, unrestrained emotion, and profound wisdom that defies domestication. In Jungian thought, the path to psychological wholeness requires us to integrate these shadow aspects, to bring into consciousness what has been repressed or denied. Lilith's exile from Eden can be understood as the psyche's attempt to banish this formidable feminine force, but as Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. To deny Lilith within is to live fragmented, shackled by unseen fears and desires. Her myth challenges us to face our inner darkness, to accept the fullness of our being, including the anger, passion, and power that are often hidden or condemned. This internal struggle reflects the external one, the social fear and suppression of female autonomy and power. Lilith's demonization parallels the ways in which women's voices and strength have been marginalized throughout history. Reclaiming Lilith means reclaiming the right to be whole, authentic, and free. Her story is a call to honor the wildness within, to embrace the transformative power of the shadow, and to find balance between light and dark. The rich symbolism surrounding Lilith deepens this message. She is associated with the night, the owl, and the serpent, each carrying layers of meaning. The owl, a creature of darkness and insight, symbolizes wisdom that sees beyond illusion. The serpent, long a symbol of temptation, also represents transformation, healing, and renewal. Through these symbols, Lilith becomes a guide into the mysteries of the unconscious, inviting us to explore the hidden depths of our souls and the world around us. Across cultures, these symbols have conveyed the dual nature of feminine power, both feared and revered, wild yet wise. The shedding of the serpent's skin mirrors the human capacity for profound change, while the owl's silent flight speaks to the intuition needed to navigate darkness. Lilith's embodiment of these forces reveals her as an archetype of untamed spirit and transformative energy. Together, the psychological and symbolic dimensions of Lilith's myth offer a profound invitation to awaken to the strength found in darkness, to embrace what has been feared or suppressed, and to harness the liberating power that comes from self-acceptance. Her presence in the shadows is not a mark of shame, but a beacon of courage and renewal, calling each of us to journey beyond fear into wholeness and light. This understanding prepares us to explore how patriarchal forces have shaped and reshaped her story, how power has sought to contain the wild feminine and rewrite history in its own image. Lilith's enduring presence in myth and psyche is further illuminated by the rich tapestry of symbols that surround her, each telling a story of mystery, transformation, and hidden wisdom. She is often linked to the creatures of the night, the owl, the serpent, beings that have long held deep significance across cultures as emblems of insight, change, and the unknown. These animals, entwined with Lilith's image, offer profound layers of meaning that invite us to look beyond surface fears and recognize the power of the feminine in its most primal and potent form. The owl, a silent watcher of the night, embodies wisdom that penetrates darkness. Its ability to see what others cannot mirrors Lilith's role as a guardian of secret knowledge and intuition. Where daylight reveals only what is visible and safe, the owl thrives in shadows, symbolizing the necessity of embracing the unknown and trusting inner guidance. In many traditions, the owl is both revered and feared, a reminder that true understanding often comes wrapped in mystery. Similarly, the serpent, one of the most ancient and complex symbols, carries dual meanings of temptation and renewal. It is a creature of the earth and the underworld, shedding its skin in a timeless dance of death and rebirth. This cycle of transformation resonates deeply with Lilith's story of exile and empowerment. The serpent's connection to sexuality, knowledge, and healing further enriches Lilith's portrayal as a figure of both danger and liberation. Like the serpent, she challenges boundaries and invites us to confront uncomfortable truths about desire, power, and change. These symbols, intertwined with Lilith, emphasize a powerful archetype, the untamed feminine that refuses domestication or control. Across different cultures, from the Mesopotamian myths where Lilith originated, to Greek and Native American traditions where owls and serpents hold sacred status, this archetype speaks to a universal recognition of feminine power that is wild, wise, and transformative. Lilith's association with these creatures highlights her role as a bridge between worlds, the seen and unseen, the conscious and unconscious, the human and the divine. Through this symbolic lens, Lilith invites us to embrace the parts of ourselves that society often urges us to hide, the fierce independence, the raw emotion, the deep intuition. Her story encourages us to honor the cycles of transformation within our lives, to trust the wisdom of the night, and to find strength in the mysteries that shape us. In doing so, Lilith becomes more than a figure of legend. She becomes a guide to personal and collective renewal, a reminder that in embracing our full nature, we step into the wholeness and power that define our humanity. As we move forward, this understanding of Lilith's symbolic resonance prepares us to explore how her legacy has been reclaimed in modern times, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who dare to challenge oppression and celebrate the freedom of the feminine. Lilith's legacy, once shrouded in fear and misunderstanding, has been reclaimed in recent centuries as a powerful emblem of feminist empowerment and resistance against oppression. In the turbulent waves of the 20th and 21st centuries, her figure has risen from the shadows of myth into the light of cultural and political significance. No longer merely a demon of old tales, Lilith is embraced as a symbol of courage, autonomy, and the refusal to accept subjugation, a beacon for those who fight for gender equality and self-determination. Artists, writers, and activists have woven Lilith's story into the fabric of feminist discourse, finding in her a reflection of their own struggles and aspirations. From the groundbreaking works of feminist artists like Judy Chicago, who celebrated Lilith as a source of female creativity and power, to contemporary literature that reimagines her as a hero rather than a villain, Lilith's image has been transformed. She stands as a testament to the resilience and strength of women who defy societal constraints and demand recognition of their full humanity. This resurgence is more than symbolic. It resonates deeply with real-world movements that challenge patriarchal systems, from advocating reproductive rights and combating gender-based violence to pushing for leadership and representation across all spheres of society. Lilith's narrative fuels these efforts, reminding us that the quest for equality is ongoing and that the spirit of rebellion she embodies is alive in every act of courage and defiance. The story of Lilith also offers a vital lesson, that reclaiming history and narrative is a powerful act of liberation. By embracing the parts of our heritage that were suppressed or distorted, we heal not only collective wounds, but also affirm the dignity and strength of those who were marginalized. Lilith's journey from demonization to feminist icon challenges us to question the stories we have been told and to seek out voices that have been silenced. In this way, Lilith's legacy continues to inspire and empower, serving as a reminder that true freedom requires both individual courage and collective action. Her story invites us to envision a world where balance between masculine and feminine forces is honored, where autonomy is respected, and where every person can claim their rightful place without fear or repression. From this place of renewed understanding, we can imagine how history might have unfolded differently if Lilith had remained alongside Adam, a world where equality was foundational and the divine balance of creation reflected in human society. This vision opens a doorway to hope and possibility, urging us to reclaim the truths hidden in shadow and to build a future grounded in justice, respect, and harmony. Imagine a world where Lilith never fled Eden, where she and Adam stood side by side not as master and subordinate, but as equals woven from the same earth and breathed into life by the same divine breath. Such a vision challenges the very foundation of the stories that have shaped humanity's understanding of gender, power, and creation. It invites us to reconsider how the balance between masculine and feminine principles might have fostered societies rooted in harmony, mutual respect, and shared authority. Had Lilith remained, the rigid structures that have long defined social and spiritual order might have taken a different shape, one where autonomy and partnership coexist without hierarchy. The partnership between man and woman could have reflected the natural cycles of balance seen throughout the cosmos, honoring both strength and nurture, freedom, and responsibility. This balance might have rippled through history, influencing laws, customs, and cultural values, forging a path where equity was not a distant ideal, but a lived reality. Such a world, shaped by Lilith's presence, might have prevented many of the conflicts born from imbalance, the struggles for dominance, the suppression of voices deemed threatening, and the perpetuation of inequality. Even the great floods of mythic history could be reinterpreted through this lens, not as divine punishment, but as warnings born of disharmony between the forces of creation. Lilith's legacy, if preserved, might have been a source of guidance, teaching humanity the importance of embracing duality and fostering unity within diversity. This imagined history urges us to reflect on how narratives shape not only our past, but our present and future. It calls us to recognize the stories we inherit, question their origins, and seek those that have been marginalized or erased. In reclaiming Lilith's story, we reclaim a vision of humanity that embraces fullness and fairness, one where power is shared and all voices honored. As we stand at the crossroads of history and myth, Lilith's tale beckons us to forge a new path, one that learns from forgotten truths and envisions a world where balance prevails. Her enduring spirit reminds us that the stories we tell are not fixed, but alive, capable of transformation and renewal. Through this lens, we are invited to participate in the ongoing creation of our collective narrative, guided by the wisdom of those who came before and the promise of a more just and harmonious tomorrow. Through the winding corridors of history and myth, Lilith's story has traveled far, carrying with it echoes of rebellion, empowerment, and the relentless pursuit of equality. She is more than a figure of ancient lore. She is a timeless symbol of the human spirit's yearning for freedom and authenticity. As her narrative unfolds, it reveals the deep and often painful struggles faced by those who dare to challenge the established order, reminding us that the fight for balance between masculine and feminine energies is both personal and universal. Lilith's legacy is not confined to dusty manuscripts or forgotten legends. It lives within each of us as a call to embrace our true selves, to confront the shadows we fear, and to honor the strength found in vulnerability and defiance alike. By reclaiming Lilith's story, we reclaim a part of our collective soul that has been suppressed, inviting a fuller understanding of humanity's complexity and potential. This journey through Lilith's history teaches us that stories wield immense power. They shape beliefs, define roles, and influence destinies. The rewriting and erasure of Lilith's place in sacred texts is a testament to how dominant narratives can silence alternative truths and perspectives, particularly those of women and marginalized groups. Yet, the persistence of her myth in art, folklore, and modern feminist discourse speaks to the resilience of suppressed voices and the transformative power of reclaiming one's narrative. It encourages us to question what we accept as truth, and to seek out the hidden stories that enrich and challenge our understanding of the world. Lilith's tale thus becomes a beacon for critical thought and social progress, urging us to dismantle oppressive structures and create space for equality and justice. The symbolic richness of Lilith, from the night's owl to the serpent's shedding skin, invites us into a deeper contemplation of transformation and wisdom. These symbols remind us that growth often comes through embracing uncertainty and the unknown, that true insight requires journeying beyond the familiar into the depths of the self. Lilith stands as a guide through this inner wilderness, a figure who embodies the wild, untamed aspects of our nature that, when honored rather than feared, lead to healing and renewal. Her story encourages us to cultivate courage and self-awareness, recognizing that liberation arises from embracing both light and shadow, order and chaos, strength and surrender. In the modern era, Lilith's resurgence as a feminist icon resonates powerfully with ongoing struggles for gender equality, autonomy, and respect. She inspires countless individuals to break free from limiting roles and societal expectations, to speak their truths boldly, and to demand recognition of their inherent worth. The echo of her defiance is heard in the movements fighting for women's rights, LGBTQ+ inclusion, and social justice worldwide. Lilith's narrative embodies the spirit of resistance that refuses to be silenced, serving as a reminder that progress often begins with the courage to stand apart and challenge the status quo. As we envision the world through the lens of Lilith's story, we are invited to imagine a reality where balance and mutual respect between genders form the foundation of society. A world where autonomy is celebrated, diversity embraced, and the sacred dance between masculine and feminine energies honored in all its complexity. Such a vision challenges us to confront the lingering inequalities and biases that persist, and to work towards a future shaped by inclusivity, empathy, and shared power. In embracing Lilith's legacy, we not only honor an ancient figure, but also affirm our own capacity for transformation and self-realization. Her story encourages us to face the uncomfortable truths within and around us, to break the chains of imposed narratives, and to forge paths grounded in authenticity and courage. It is a call to awaken to the fullness of our humanity, to celebrate the multifaceted nature of identity, and to commit ourselves to the ongoing journey toward equality and freedom. If Lilith's tale has stirred something within you, may it inspire a deeper exploration of the stories that shape your life and the world. Like and subscribe to join a community dedicated to uncovering hidden truths, challenging convention, and celebrating the power of myth to illuminate and transform. Together we journey forward, guided by the wisdom of forgotten voices and the promise of a more just and balanced tomorrow. Let Lilith's fierce spirit be a beacon, lighting the way to self-discovery, empowerment, and the embrace of all that we are.